happened since I haven't been here? What's happened since I haven't been here? By the way, hope all had a fantastic family weekend. Father's Day, all of that. I hope everyone had themselves a great weekend. I can't tell you how bad I wanted to go on Friday, but we had some technical difficulties at the Big Sill Studios. All rectified. We're ready to rock and roll. What an absolute as the Eagles' world turns. But as we always start a program off, Big Sills! Holy cow. I just got a little tidbit, too. Let's see here. NFL player Terrell Lewis ran away from two naked whores without paying them for their work. Hey, man, he probably picked that up from Howie. He probably got that from Howie. Footage of the escape of Lewis running away from two whores. Hey, Howie didn't want to pay Reddick. I get it. Hey, like player, like GM, right? I mean, he didn't want to pay the whores. I get it. Guy didn't want to pay the whores. Services rendered. Come on, dog. Holy shit is their news. This is classic stuff, man. I so wanted to be on Friday because of the nightmare that is going on at the NovaCare complex. That's like the House of Horrors now. You got to be kidding me. Dude, all the things that we have been saying to you for about 5 months are true. Everything is true. It's true. Angelo Cataldi will be with us at 5:30 Eastern. Gary Cobb at 4:30. Xander from Birds 365 at 3:30 in his customary spot. Holy cow. By the way, please, as we always do each and every single day, we ask you for 200 likes as the show continues to grow. Hey, you guys know this. Holy cow. People today want to know what Big Sills' take is and all of your takes on what's been happening the last couple days over there between Jalen Hurts, Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, and the team. Let's just do a little bit of a takeaway from the last couple days here. 12 wins easily never happened. Never happened. Absolutely not. How can you be a winning team when you don't act like one? How can you be a winning team when you don't act like one? You don't act like a championship football team. You guys ain't winning 12 games. How about this? So, what I don't get is, and I heard John McMullen make a great point on Birds 365 this morning. You know what he said? A.J. Brown, the Devontae, tight ends. Barkley wasn't really involved in anything because the run game hasn't been installed yet. Pretty much everybody looked pretty good. And the only guy that stunk was Hurts. He's the one struggling. He's the one struggling with the terminology. This team's a joke. 7 to 8 wins max. Thank you, Flexen. Can I tell you, I think this all goes around Serani being in the building. You'd never cut the cancer out. Here, I think the owner is unhappy. Flexen, thank you, man. I appreciate that. All super chats, by the way, go to the top. I think the owner is not happy with Jalen Hurts. I think the owner's not. You really think that came from anybody other than Jeffrey Lurie when he heard him say, hey, I don't know what the guy's role is. I have no idea. I told you that's a bigger, hey, somebody leaked that out in the Eagle organization. I heard Xander and John McMullen say, it's a nothing burger. I'm not Xander so much. Well, somebody in the Eagle organization wanted people to know that because by the end of Friday, reputable people who cover that team had it on their timeline. And for those guys, remember something. The Eagles don't give the local media shit. They give all the national guys the information. They wanted that out. Just like when they put that stupid-ass video of practicing fumbling drills on a Friday when they fired Sean Desai. They are a very, very image-conscious organization. They are without a doubt conscious image. Every single thing that runs through that organization is all about their image and how you perceive and how the national people perceive them. Probably more so than anyone else is how the national people look at the Eagle organization. Angelo Cataldi has been dead on with this. And so have we. You guys keep telling me there's some sort of harmony going on and the Eagle way. Really? How do you think that culture looks now? Your culture's horseshit. You got all these great players and no culture. Here, let's look some more at the facts. Why are they protecting Nick? Why is it so imperative that they're upset with a $50 million franchise quarterback and Nick, who's on a respirator for his job? I don't give a fuck about Nick Sirianni. I want my quarterback to be happy. Sills, happy Father's Day belated. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Don't you guys? Nick is not protecting Jalen Hurts. Absolutely not. He hates him. Dude, anybody who thinks that Nick Sirianni's protecting Jalen Hurts is just got their head in the sand. It's absolutely not true. Okay? You can't say shit now. Jalen is the problem, not Nick. Dude, Jalen's the problem? You gave him $250 million. You better hope he's not the problem. You better hope he's not the problem. Because if that's the case, you got an even bigger problem in your building. Let's take a look at this. There's no question how he went to Jalen Hurts. He had to send some sort of mouthpiece like Bob Lang to go tell him to shut up. It's not Bob Lang's role. That's not Bob Lang's role to go tell Jalen, hey, you should have did a better job at your press conference. I'd turn around if I was making $50 million and look at Bob Lang and go, hey, go fuck yourself. Don't talk to me like that. And if next time you talk to me through my agent. Don't you ever come to me and tell me how to talk to anybody. You're not here to direct me. You're not my director. I'll answer any way I see fit. I mean, that could also be becoming a problem, is that the Eagles want to try to control the narrative. Okay? 20% of the offense is new and not 95%? I mean, why would Jalen lie? Does that kid come off, or is he making excuses? Or is Hurts looking for off-ramp if he fails this year? What's going on here? What the F is going on? What the F is going on at NovaCare? It does look dysfunctional. It does. JM goes, Hurts has never taken accountability for anything. That's a fact. That's why I told you guys a year ago, that guy ain't the leader you think he is. Do you know there's actually people in that market who think that that's not, and what's going on is not a big deal. So you don't think that, get this, how would you like to go to work every day? Let's just put you in their perspective on how they go. Some people in the Philly media go, this is not a big thing. How would you like to go to work every day and you hate your fucking boss every day? How would you like that? You think that'd be a good environment? Or how about this? Not only you, but the most important person in your building that your job relies on hates the guy who runs the company. Doesn't that make for a shitty environment and a shitty locker room? I mean, it's on display in front of you. This is on display. Bad business was keeping Nick Sirianni. So let's do this. Oh, by the way, I've got so much shit that's coming out of NovaCare, you're not going to believe it. So let me give you, before I go over to the other one, you know why Hassan Reddick is not on the Eagles? Let's not even talk about mandatory minicamp, Jets, money. Do you know why he's not on the Philadelphia Eagles? Do you know why he's not on the Eagles? You want to hear why he's not on the Eagles? This was told to me on Friday morning. That's why I tell you, I wanted to go on, guys. I did. Do you know why Hassan Reddick is not on the Eagles? Vic didn't want him. No. Vic said he could do it without him. I'm going to tell you right now. Nick Sirianni and Hassan Reddick had a confrontation. Not a physical one, but a confrontation on how he was being used. I don't know the exact verbiage, but there was a confrontation. And he was fed up with the coaches that were dropping him in coverage. And he made an issue of it with Nick. Nick got in his ass and he hollered back. There was a conversation. This wasn't about money. This was about how they were using him at the end of the year. How's that? He's not on that team because Howie and the owner were protecting Nick. So they jettisoned him. They had the money to pay him. They had another year on the contract. But because Reddick and Nick didn't see eye to eye, don't you remember also on the sideline when Sirianni confronted him on the sideline about something and they both got in each other? That was the first one. And then the second one was when they were in his office and they were having a conversation. How's that? They kicked Hassan Reddick off that team because the owner and the general manager didn't want to have that conflict between the head coach and Reddick. This wasn't about Vic. This was about Nick. Facts. What is up with this? What is going on? They should have just fired him. Man, I don't know. I feel like Vic would have had that conflict with him as well. Maybe so. Maybe so, Eduardo. Maybe he did. I don't know that part of it. I just know that him and Sirianni had another conversation in his office, and it was a heated conversation, and he told his agent about it, and he said, these guys are dropping me in coverage again. And he didn't want to be dropped in coverage. And he made it a point to say it. Hey, I only do what they're telling me upstairs to do. And then Nick was even talking shit to him on the sidelines. You got a lot of noise around your football team right now. Thank you, Jeff DeBone. Appreciate it, brother. You too, man. People just can't deal with things face to face anymore. Business is done without talking to the person directly. I agree. Play by play, and it's public now too. So you have to go in like a sphere now where you have to go either on X or you have to go and post something somewhere else on YouTube. It's crazy that people can't just have a conversation in a coach's office. You know, that's one of the really cool things about Belichick. Do you know when you go into Bill Belichick's offices, when he was in New England, cell phones were not allowed. They were not allowed. They weren't doing any of that. If you had a problem with somebody, you wanted to talk to somebody, you talked to them face to face. You talk to the guy face to face. So get this. On top of the Hurts drama, now you've got a little bit more of what's coming out with Reddick. It was between Nick Sirianni and Reddick. And Vic probably, you're right. Hey, I don't want the new DC to have to deal with this guy too. He's already doesn't like the head coach. And Vic wanted to probably drop him in coverage. And he's like, this is bullshit. They're going to use me wrong here. No question. Both sides did not handle that well. But this has a lot to do more with Vic Fangio using him in a scheme. And it has more to do with Nick Sirianni and the relationship he had with Hassan Reddick. This is crazy drama. Why? Because you kept the guy in the building instead of firing his ass. We're bringing this up with Angelo. And we're going to bring it up with Gary and also with Xander. How in the world do you think it's a nothing burger when last year that guy couldn't put a fire out? And you got some fires starting to simmer now. And you haven't even shown up at training camp. Your quarterback hates that fucking head coach. Now, this leads me to this here. Help me out on this, because I'm going to need a lot of help on this one. Why is it that the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie, and the GM want to protect the head coach over the quarterback? Why wouldn't you get your quarterbacks back? Why? I don't care about a head coach. Do you think the Bengals give a shit about Zach Taylor over Joe Burrow? Do you really believe that they care more about Sean McDermott than Josh Allen in Buffalo? I'll even make this point to you. Do you think they give a shit more about Andy Reid in KC over Patrick Mahomes? There's not a place with a big-name quarterback that the coach is not expendable, including Reid in Kansas City. The only place that matters is in Philly. Here. Or maybe even Dallas. And those are two places that bomb out. Okay? That bomb out. When it comes to playoff time, still the whole Chip Kelly thing still lives in Lori and Howie's head rent-free. You know who brought that up? Kudos to Xander. You think there's some lingering effect from the collateral damage of Chip that still resonates in the locker room? Kind of was like, I don't know. Maybe. But it sure looks it. It sure looks like there's still collateral damage from that these guys are more concerned with control than championships. They care that Hurts can't play the part for the media and keep the drama quiet like a real man. Hurts has fueled it. So the owner and the GM are upset with Hurts because they didn't handle the head coach correctly. Well, what's that to them? Can I say this? Do you think that there was a conversation at the beginning of the year where Jalen said, now look, I'm speculating on this. I'm going to speculate. Maybe Angelo's right. You think that the Clutch Sports people and Jalen said, I'll tell you what, we're never going to win here with that guy in the building. And when they brought him back, it deflated him. Then they gave him a new offense again for a fourth year in a row, or a new play caller for a fourth year in a row. You think he's thrown his hands up and said, this is not going to work here with him? Some go like this, well, it's Kelling. Not really. Because now people are saying, and Howard Eskin reported it. Howard Eskin's the mouthpiece of the Eagles. Jalen's wrong. Get this. You think Howard Eskin, who's the sideline reporter for the Philadelphia Eagles, he's not even employed by WIP anymore. He's employed by the Philadelphia Eagles. You know why they put him on? This is so ridiculous. You know why they put him on the weekends? So it doesn't look like he's a mouthpiece. Howard Eskin on weekends? Really? Why? Well, his only job would be working for the Eagles. He's a mouthpiece. So it throws shade on that. It's the only reason he does a show. He'll put a 90-year-old guy on the weekends. He's there to cover it. He works for the Eagles, not WIP. And he came out and said, hey, Jalen was wrong in his press conference. The offense is not 95% new. It's only about 20%, 19 to 20. Where'd you get that from? Who told you that? Bob Lang? What would he know? Where did he get it from? The GM? Coach? Where would Howard Eskin get that from? Kellen Moore? He got it from somebody in the Eagles. So Jalen's lying? What's going on? What is going on with your team? What's going on? Someone's lying. Someone doesn't want to play for someone. Why in the world would an employee of the Eagles go on the air live and contradict the quarterback who's trying to learn a new offense? Jalen said it's completely new. One of the mouthpieces for the Eagles go, that's not true. Dude, it's not like me saying that, a talk show host. You got an employee of the organization. Why? Doesn't it seem that the Eagles took a shit on Jalen and the owner and GM did? The owner, the GM, and the head coach took a shit on their quarterback. Why? That's not the kind of attitude and environment I want to go into training camp less than 40 days away to prepare for the 24 season when I've got people throwing shade at my starting quarterback. I mean, JM goes, Jalen needs to be humbled. JM, I think he needs to be propped up more. I'm trying to have my quarterback have a really good attitude. Or, get this, he's not the guy. You know, why do you guys think that Jalen Hurts is some sort of super leader? What was that intangible that made you think that? When he's never taken accountability for anything. He's never backed a position coach. He's never backed Shane Steichen, he did. He's never backed a head coach. Shit, I've never heard him say anything positive about Howie Roseman. I barely have heard him say something positive about Jeffrey Lurie. Where is this some sort of leadership when you had people like Fletcher Cox and all those guys at the end of the year questioning his leadership and how he led? And now how this thing is coming up, organizations disappointed in his comments and how he's handling of Nick Sirianni publicly. This is not just about a comment. This is his attitude towards Nick. You don't come out over a comment. Comments can be made by mistake. Take it from me. The way you treat people, Britton Covey. Remember when I said this and I had Barrett Brooks on? And Barrett Brooks said, I got it from Britton Covey that Jalen is a little bit standoffish. He's not really approachable, some of the things. Well, what are the organization now saying about him? That's turning out to be true. It's turning out to be true. Has the money changed him? Money changes people. Money changes people. Trust me when I tell you, when you've never had it like that and it's in your pocket and you got fuck you money, it changes you, man. You don't have a care in the world. Nor, get this, do you care about what collateral damage can be? You circle your friends a little bit closer. You put people more off. Some do that. Some embrace, like Brady. Is this really Nick? Xander was talking about a column that John McMullen wrote about how Nick is getting away from the play calling. Maybe he's doing it to get away from Hurts, to give the quarterback more autonomy and him stand away. You see, Xander, I don't think it's about play calling. I think it's Nick going further away from Hurts. That's how I took it. And that's how I took Jalen's behavior. It's not about surrendering play calling. It's about getting Nick as far away from Jalen as possible to see if that works. Right? He's further away, not involved with the play calling. Last year, he was involved. My offense. Maybe Jalen told him, I don't want him involved in the offense. But then to come out and go, it's 95% new, the organization go, no. Why would the organization either lie or call Jalen a liar? Someone's a liar. Either the offense is new or it's not. What's the hidden secret here? Why aren't you transparent? This whole thing is a train wreck because the coach is in the building. Whether you like Nick or not, you're paying a guy $250. And you've got him until 29. Sirianni's expendable. He's the guy you sacrifice at the altar. You don't sacrifice Hurts. There's too much collateral damage money-wise. Dude. You got one of the most talented teams in the NFL, and you have a football team that doesn't know where they're going. And it doesn't act like a champion. And if you think this is not going to be a problem, you had a talented offense that was 8th last year and scored 26 points a game, and you still melted down. The only person you've added is Barkley. And Swift wasn't horrible. He was a Pro Bowler. And he just got an $8 million deal. Hey, how about this? Everything that I have said to you about Nick and all has turned out to be true. The organization is upset with Hurts in his behavior towards the head coach. Why is that? Because he hates him. The organization then turns around to defend Nick because you know why? When we get Angelo on at 5:30, he'll tell you why. Because that's their guy. Why the protecting? It's very clear why they're protecting him. This goes back to the visual. This goes back to how that organization refuses to want to look bad publicly in decisions that they make. You see, they can't justify firing Doug Peterson. They never could. The only thing they have is that the team is so talented. Playoff run, no doubt. It's not a championship football team. And there where the problem lies. You don't have a championship football team because you know why? You got a quarterback who can't stand the coach. And the coach who now wants to separate himself from the player. That's what's happened here. And the organization, for them to go over and above to take a shit on Hurts doesn't make sense. Jalen's lying. It's not 95% new. It's 20%. Oh, so there's still Nick Sirianni offense in it? I thought Xander told me it was a brand new Kellen Moore offense. Still 80% Nick? Which is it? I don't know. So it's not 80%. Okay, it's not 95% new, which it's not Kellen's offense. It's Nick's offense with 20% added? Okay, what is it? They came out immediately and contradicted him. And protected Nick. Look, both these guys are grown men. Why is it so important for the owner of the Eagles and the GM to have everybody think the way they want you to think? They are so desperately trying to control the narrative and the media, and it's gotten a little bit out of hand for them because now they're contradicting themselves. They're contradicting themselves. They're doing it now every day. I don't know how you don't see this. And by the way, you don't think that got in the way last year and that this is not going to get in the way this year? What would lead you to believe that? The great leadership of Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelsey being on the oh, wait, they're not there. Who, Brandon Graham, who after the fact is telling us, hey, now we got our coaches in place. Hey, thanks a lot for being there last year. You were nowhere to be seen. John McMullen said something interesting today. Hey, you know, I was out at all the OTAs and all the off-season workouts. A.J. Brown and Devontae look great. Tight ends look pretty decent. Everybody, you know, offensive line is not really involved in this because you're not installing the run game yet. So really, it's more about the skilled guys, 7-on-7 and 9-on-7. Those guys all look good except one guy, the quarterback. The only guy that sucked this offseason has been Hurts. Can you imagine the owner of the team and the GM have a problem with the head guy on your roster, the quarterback, and you're 39, 38 days out from training camp? How's that? All the shit we told you. Discord in the locker room. No power in the place. The guy's a bullshitter. The guy's a liar. How many people think Jalen Hurts is lying? Let's put it out here. Is Hurts lying about this offseason and what's going on? Brand new O. I don't know what Nick's role is. Or is ownership lying? It's not a new offense. It's got a couple new turns in the offense. And we're disappointed in the quarterback's behavior towards the head coach. What's going on here? Anybody? By the way, that's not my reporting. That's Jeff McClain. That's other folks reporting that are saying this. Comment? Anyone? And here's why I'm not sure it's Hurts lying. I'm making $50 million a year. Why would I lie? I could make $50 million a year anywhere else. Why would I lie? What's my objective to lie? To make excuses? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know that. Tell you what, a lot of similarities with Carson Wentz stuff and how it unraveled. Just a different path of the unraveling, but it unraveled that way too. So get this. I thought it was Reuben Frank when Reuben Frank went 95% new. And then Howard Eskin, the ultimate mouthpiece. No, it's about 20% new. He basically called Jalen Hurts a liar. Had to get that from somebody. He got that from the organization. They wanted that out. He's not going to say anything to jeopardize his job. He's not going to say anything like that. Man, you're protecting the wrong guy. And by the way, if the quarterback has a bitch about something, why doesn't he have the freedom to say what's on his mind? Why is it so important for the Eagles to control that? You're pissed off at Hurts for saying something about the coach? Good. It should be said. I don't know what his role is. Jalen was just being honest. You want him to back a bad coach? The Eagles are. You got to pick a side here. Eagle fans, this is going to be your toughest decision to make. You're either going to stand on the side of Hurts or you're going to stand on the side of management. What side are you on? They clearly have a problem here. It's not a big deal. Really? Well, the quarterback doesn't like what's going on. He's clearly told you that. He clearly has told you this. PJ, great work. I asked a few weeks ago as a New York Giant fan if a team takes on the personality of its head coach. You said takes on the personality of an organization. What are the personalities of the NFC East? Well, I think that all the organizations in the East, one of the reasons why they walk backwards and they don't look like championship football teams, the Dallas Cowboys are the face of Jerry Jones. The New York Giants are the face of the front office and not Brian Dable. Look at those shit decisions they made between the Saquon Barkley walking out the building, not picking up the 50-year option on Daniel Jones, giving him that 3-year contract extension, signing of Waller with the trade with the Raiders. Then he retires. You got nothing out of that. The letting loose of Xavier McKinney. I mean, the organization just makes one fuck up after another, New York. Washington, yet to be seen. But if it's anything that embodies what the Sixers are around, Well, know this, it's a stupid process. It's a stupid process. And the Eagles are meddlers. Dude, get this. Hey, LJ, you can do all your bitching at me. This is stuff that's been reported by people in Philadelphia, not me. Once again, they're shitting on the messenger. Folks, this isn't my take. This is the reporting of Jeff McClain and others in that city that are saying management is not happy with the kid. That on the top of that, he lied about it being a new offense. This is not me. That's them who are there every day at NovaCare. So whatever you want to call me or say about me, at the end of the day, everything that I've been telling you for 2 years is true. And vindicated. Hey, Britton Covey, you can blow me. I was right. Imagine that. So Britton Covey went on his Twitter. I reposted it. Saying what a great this and that Hurts is. Now you got ownership telling you that's not true. Calling him a liar within a span of 2 days. That's some leader. Have you ever heard the Kansas City Chiefs call Pat Mahomes a liar? Or Tom Brady a liar publicly? Have you? Get this. LJ thinks low content is the organization of the Philadelphia Eagles telling the quarterback that we're disappointed with your behavior towards the head coach. And that Howard Eskin going, he lied about the new offense. It's not that new. Is low content? So all the things when they parade these guys and put them in front of you, all those press conferences, don't ever believe them. They're bull-faced lying to you. You think that's not a deal? Hey, Steve, Dan has zero credit. This is not my reporting. What credibility are you talking about? Are you talking about Jeff McClain's? Are you talking about Reuben Frank and the rest of the guys that covered the team? Or you must be talking about their credibility, because that's not my reporting. I didn't know anybody in the front office and the owner and the GM were mad. I didn't know that. Hey, what really is remarkable is that when somebody brings up opinions on things that I have been saying about your team, and you get a little bit aggravated about it, and you don't like to hear the truth, I would say that 20% of the people that are in this program that watch it every day love to be lied to and think they have their own narrative on it and refuse to hear other people's opinions. That's not me. I get this. Jeff McClain and I don't like each other. Do you know that? That's right, Zan? He and I don't like each other. He and I don't like each other. I don't like him. He don't like me. That's fine. But he's not lying. Think about that. All the things that I said here today were reported by other people in the last 4 days. And some of you are mad at me for what? Agreeing with what I've been telling you for 2 years? Isn't it funny? You guys come on this program on a daily basis and bash me for some of my crazy ass takes sometimes. And most of them turn out to be true. Told you this Serani guy's a puppet. Howie Booty Bandits can't handle the truth. I told you Hurts is not the player you think he is. He's good. He's just not good enough. Sean, thank you very much, brother. This is why this Starcon is the best. We need you and Angelo for an extra 20 minutes. Y'all don't try to candy ass the fans. Hey, Sean, dude, I'm here for you guys, and you're here for me. And I thank you. By the way, thank you. I'm not here for the Eagles. Do you know there's some people that work in that market? You want to hear some? There's some people that work in that market that think they're key fob. Thank you, Sean. That was really great. Really awesome, huh, Xander? I read it. Hey, there's some people in that market that look at that key fob like it's part of their DNA. When at the end of the day, the Eagles use them. They don't give a shit about telling you the truth. They're going to tell you a narrative. Hey, you know what? I'll tell you flat out now to show you what liars they are. I kind of broached it last week. They were coming up with something saying that I was anti-Semitic because I called Howie Roseman a glorified CPA. What? I didn't know the Jewish faith had the corner on the market on CPAs. And the owner and the GM felt disrespected. We were like, what? My aunt's a CPA. They'll do anything to have you believe anything. Imagine that. They wanted to trump something up. Pun intended. Try to get me off the air. But then again, that's what people have done for 40 years. Relative. The playbook might be only 20% new, but what they want Jalen to do is 95% different. Less running, more check down, hitting third option. Not exactly lying, just different perspectives. Hey, relative. But then, okay, I would have bid on that, relative. But then when they asked what Nick's role was, he goes, I don't know. I don't know. And if some of the same terminology and same direction that they had in 23 is still going to be in the playbook, wouldn't you want at least the guy who was the architect of it? He called himself the architect, right, relative? He called himself, this is my game plan. This is my offense. Wouldn't you want a little bit of that feedback? And that didn't sound like Hurts going, this is brand new, man. Remember, he also went like this. He was asked the question, he goes, do you like the offense now? He goes, I'll let you know, it's too soon. Guys, it's June 17th, and this is already rearing its head. This looks like November and December already of last year. Okay? And by the way, this guy in here saying gossip? It's not gossip. These are people who are team reporters that work for the Inquirer. Jeff McClain and the other guy who reported all this stuff about the ownership being upset with Hurts and all that. Those are beat writers. Those aren't op-eds. Well, those are beat reporters. There's no. Jeff McClain is not an op-ed writer. He's a beat reporter for the Eagles. And you've got a sideline reporter and Howard Eskin saying, Hurts is not, it's not 95% new. It's 20% new. That's not gossip. Those are people that are employed, one of them, by the Philadelphia Eagles. Employed. Sills, if I need to choose between the front office, Eskin, and Hurts, I choose Hurts. Has never been known as a problem on a team. The organization has shown their thin skin for years. I agree. Hey, you guys want to hear something? If I'm going to side on someone's side, I'm siding on Jalen Hurts' side. Now, does Jalen Hurts need to power through this? Absolutely. Shit happens. That's why you get paid $50 million. Nobody's crying for the kid. And some of those excuses he makes, he needs to come up with a better reason not to answer some of these stupid questions. By the way, when someone goes, that's just not Hurts, well, it better become part of Hurts because that's also why you're paid. But, dude, the organization lied all last year every week on a Wednesday press conference. The Serani lying hour is what, I mean, it was every week between the coaches being good, great guys we have in the locker room, all that stuff, Seattle, all that shit was lies. And again, why is it so important for the Philadelphia Eagle organization to come out and ridicule their quarterback if the quarterback has a problem with something? Why can't he say what's on his mind? Hey, brand new offense. Why didn't they leave it lie there? Why was it so important for the organization to have to come out and go, no, it's not? Or, hey, I don't know what Nick's role is. Maybe they never told him. That's a good question. I don't know. You don't know with a guy that on the front door of his office it says head coach of the Eagles. You don't know what his job title is? I've never heard of such a thing. I've never heard such a thing. Have you? Hey, what does John Harbaugh do in Baltimore? I don't know. I have no idea what his role is. None. Okay? The front office, man, you want to know once again why they don't win championships? What's going on here? They can't stand. They'd rather look good losing than look bad winning. Signed Doug Peterson. That embodies the ownership of Jeffrey Lurie. What I just said, it embodies Jeffrey Lurie. That embodies him. They'd rather look good losing than look bad winning. And that's why you lie where you lie. Front office is in damage control? Yeah, but Nick, you know what they do for damage control? They tell everyone to shut the fuck up. I don't think Jalen has any backbone. Or maybe he does, and why he's fighting it. That's why we got Angelo on. Angelo will be on at 5:30. Gary Cobb at 4:30, and Xander's going to join us at 3:30. Look, I'm sure people have a different perspective, but I've been talking this way for 2 years. And all of it's starting to look like, hey, the whole thing with Reddick, too. They got rid of Reddick because they wanted to protect Nick because of the conflict that the player and Nick had with one another. That's why? That's what the agent's reporting. That's what Marcus Hayes is reporting. They got rid of Reddick because the front office didn't like his attitude towards the head coach. That's why he's not on the team. How do you run a football team like that? How do you run a football team like that? Once again, I'm not talking about holding out. I'm not talking about money, contracts. They booted him off that team because the player and Nick got into a confrontation in his office about how they were going to use him and how he moved him. Plain and simple. You could take that for whatever you want. Marcus Hayes and Reddick's agent have reported that. Not Big Sills. All the things that are coming out now about the behavior on the organization and how they've done everything here, they've not fixed their image or done anything for damage control. You know, the one thing they addressed it all by Howie's personnel moves. But you know what they never really addressed it with? Quality coaches in the building that could solve problems. And most notably with your head coach. How's that for you? How's that? You have the same problem you had last year. Why wouldn't you have the same result as a year ago? Why? Because Hurts looks like he's on the same page with the organization and the coach and the coordinator. Jalen Hurts is not on the same page with the coordinator, the coach, or the organization right now. And it's June 17th. You're a month to camp. No problems, right? How dumb can you be? You're a month out from the start of training camp, and the head coach and the player are not on the same page, and the organization is pissed off at your star player. Oh, okay. You're right. 13 wins. You had the same personnel pretty much a year. Actually, no, you had lesser today. You're not a better roster than you were a year ago. You're a lesser football team. Okay? You're a lesser football team with less leadership. Sills, would you say you're optimistic? Millie, I would say I'm optimistic about everyone getting their numbers again, but no wins of significance. Be like last year. Everyone will get their individual numbers, just like everyone practicing. The OTAs were a prime example of 2023. Hey, everyone looked good, like John McMullen said, except Hurts. That's what happened last year. What's changed? The relationship between the coach and the player? You just embodied exactly 23. And McMullen said it this morning on Birds 365. You know, AJ and Devontae look good. They did last year. You know, I mean, the only guy that didn't look good was the quarterback. Even Goddard looked good. It's like, okay. Well, that's what happened last year. Sills, Hurts has never been known as a cancer. Agreed. Why would he change now? Nick's two daddies are fighting his battles. This is a Howie and Jeff ego issue. Agreed. 100%. But Jalen has got to power through that. And you know what? The one thing Jalen is refusing to do that I think is upset. Can I tell you, maybe you guys will agree. You know what I think that the organization has a problem with Jalen? He won't lie. He won't lie to the public. Hey, Nick's really great. I mean, he's our guy. He's going to lead us this year. He's overseeing everything. You know, he'd never come out and talk like that. It's not, they want him to lie like that. He won't. It's not his nature to lie. You could tell by the way he answers questions. He's not a liar. Hey, I may have issues with the way he plays sometimes, but one thing I'll say to you, I don't think that guy's a liar. I think Nick Sirianni's a bold-faced liar because he's done it to you and your face for 3 years. Does Jalen come off like a liar to you? No. The head coach is a known liar. He made that entire Seattle story up. Why wouldn't he do that again? He lies every day. You create your own. Look at this too. Once again, you're creating self-sabotage in your own building already. Where's this noise anywhere? Name me a place where the quarterback hates their guy and doesn't like and not on the same page with the organization. Let's take a look at that. Let me think. Is Tua? Tua's kind of on the same page. Where? There's a lot of noise in New York with the Jets. Let's go here. You'll never have that out in Los Angeles. Even when there's a contract issue going on out there in LA. But M. Reyes goes to Giants. Yeah, probably so. The Giants have buyer's remorse on Daniel Jones. Yeah. That's why that's a 4-win team. But you know the difference between the Giants and the Eagles? The Eagles have 10 times more talent. Dude, that was the worst 11-win football team I've ever seen. Because they just quit. So there's been 2 scenarios where you've had self-sabotage that I've seen with you. Okay, you want to say Patriots? Well, I don't think that Drake May hates the Patriots right now. He just got there. The Patriots are a 4-win team. I saw that 95% is a built-in excuse if he fails. There's some to that too. I would trade Hurts for Allen in a second. Problem is, Bills wouldn't. They would never trade Josh Allen. Dude, the only person that they would trade Josh Allen for would be Mahomes. Hey, and by the way, so much for Jalen Hurts' $50 million contract. They gave a guy in Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow's contract at $55 million. Just because you pay these guys don't mean they're good. I mean, really. Do you know if you put the numbers up next to each other, Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence almost have the same identical numbers? Just because you pay these people don't mean they're good. I mean, the contracts that the quarterbacks are making now overrate the ability of the quarterbacks to win and be consistent winners in this league. The contracts are overrating people. Cousins is overrated. Lawrence is overrated. All these guys. You know the guys who aren't? The guys who don't have a lot of guys on the team. Mahomes, Allen. There's nobody in Buffalo. There's nobody in Kansas City. Travis Kelce. There's nobody. Not like you have in. Hey, and this is why I say this about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. He's a better quarterback because he knows how to move the ball around better. And he gets the ball in the hands. Is he a better athlete than Hurts? No. No. But they've been to 2 NFC title games in a row. And crushed you. Seals, organization has questionable ethics. Withholding information is normal. True. But lying is an issue. The problem is that Hurts appears to have morals and won't dance to the team's tune. That is my takeaway too, Bob. Bob, that's my takeaway. That's my takeaway. Look at Lord Vaughn talking about the wrong thing as usual, and all the rest of these people talking about the stupidest things. This is not about the amount of wins. This is about winning championships. The Chiefs won 11 games last year. Do you think they gave a shit if they won 11 or 13 games? They didn't give a shit. They won a Super Bowl. We were 10-2. So what? And you had a nuclear implosion that resembled 3 Mile Island. Right. Whatever. Hurts has no chance of success. None. None. Until they get that guy out of the building. So-called greatest coach in the history of the Eagles. Has no way of winning because he doesn't know what he's doing. He is not qualified to be the head football coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. The only thing that Nick Sirianni's qualified to do is scoot along on his knees in the NovaCare Center for the owner and the GM. And when things, they protect him because he protects them. He doesn't protect Hurts. He protects the, hey, is it me? How many people in here, every freaking press conference that Nick Sirianni has, he's always on his knees to Howie. He's always on his knees. Oh, Howie's this and Howie's that and Howie's this. I'm telling you. You won the Super Bowl in 17 because of great coaching decisions in game and a guy playing out of his skull because he was coached and they coached his ass off. 17's a lesser talent, but you know what they had? They had championship pedigree. The 22 team was close. The 23 team was never close. They were never close to being a championship organization. If you got quit in you, how could you be considered a champion? How in the world could you be considered a champion if you quit? What did Brandon Graham say? Hey, we knew it was over going into the Buccaneer playoff game. We knew that it just wasn't going to happen. Before they even stepped on the field, they knew they were beat. Flexen, Xander's going to kick me because what? Of Jeff McClain's reporting? Of what? The other folks like Howard Eskin contradicting Jalen? The Reddick being thrown off the team because he had a conflict with Nick? Which one is it? I'm just curious. Yeah, Xander just said, Sills, shut up, not you. See? So guess what you have here now? This is really pretty remarkable. You know what you have? You have people trying to stop us from communicating with you by loading up on the chat room because they don't like what I'm saying. They must work for the Eagles. I'm talking. I got you, Flexing. Thank you. My bad. Do you understand what they do when they do that? They do that so that I can't talk to you because they don't want me to say this to you. Because guys like LJ would take Andy Reid or would take Nick over Andy Reid and over Doug. That's why. Okay, Flexing. Shut up, Xander. Look at how much of a 2-year-old LJ got him. What in the fuck? Are you 9? I'm trying to have a conversation with sports fans. Got him? Dude, honest to God. I don't understand that. Got him? Congratulations, dude. I make you part of my show. And if you don't want me to, I don't have to. You just let me know, LJ. And I'll tell you what. Okay, no problem. All good, dude. Keep posting away, son. I'll get to you by Friday. Hey, I used to have a rule when I did my shows that I would talk to assholes like LJ once a week. Well, I'll put him in a corner for a couple days here and see how he behaves. And if he doesn't behave, we'll put him on a 2-week little, moratorium. And if he decides to act decent, then I'll bring him out without the dunce hat on. But until then, you're in the corner right now till Friday, son. So if you want to do that, go right ahead, kid. You're in a timeout. Have at it. Sills, forget wins and championships. This is about the long-term health of this franchise. All of the good work this team has done means nothing unless they fix this. Correct. It's a structural issue. It's more of an internal thing in how they operate their business. Okay? That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. Absolutely. Flexing. So, no, Martin. No. We're just gonna start putting a guy like that in timeouts because it's whatever. He needs a timeout, so it's all good. You go, hey, got him? Okay. Well, you can get me on Friday. Be the next time we talk to them, Martin. Okay. Big Sills. I give you the pleasure of my acknowledging you. See here. This is about Jalen drowning it after. It absolutely is. We have too much talent for the organization to be acting like babies without their bib and head coach that doesn't even know what the hell they're doing. Devontae, that is exactly the point that I've made with you and many people in here is that you're this close, my friend. You're this close. So honestly, Sills, do you think they have a chance to make the playoffs? Hey, Perez, don't start out 2-2. I think the first month of the season in September, okay, is going to be critical to the success of the remainder of the season. If that thing goes south in the first month of the season and it's wobbling and the offense is slow, you're going to have problems. So people hate honesty about a coach that's not good, makes the organization look bad. Well, why protect him though, Martin? Martin, the only reason that Nick Sirianni is in the building is because he is a locker room watchdog for everything else. And that's why they're mad at Jalen. Get this, Jalen had some innocuous comments. I don't know what his role is. Offense is 95% new. And they went out of their way to go to reporters to make sure that there was like some sort of narrative that that's not true. And we're disappointed. They went out of their way. Out of their way. Bill Belichick coached this franchise? Never happened. Boy, I'll tell you. If you're a reporter right now in Philly, how are you doing your job, honestly? How are you doing your job, honestly, and covering what you're watching and not being more? Hey, I've been saying this and I heard it on Birds 365 this morning, but I've been saying this for 2 years. I've never seen a quarterback in my entire life that is protected more. And anybody says any kind of criticism towards Jalen Hurts, everyone gets their panties in a bind. But I'll tell you something else. I've never seen an organization protect a coach like that. They go over and above to make sure that they have corrections or they have press conferences on Wednesday when a player says something on a Sunday. Can't be mad at Jalen for not supporting Nick when the Eagles don't support Nick. They stripped him of his power. Keep talking shit, Sills. GTV, thank you, my friend. Guys, just saying, where are we here? Sills, I disagree with you on Hurts' skill as a quarterback. That's okay. But assuming you're right, this team has enough talent around him to win. They did last year. And they just didn't know what they were seeing in 23. They caught up to him. They have a staff that could put Hurts in the right positions. Dude, you know how you're going to win this year? 440 passing attempts. Not 540 or 600 attempts. Anything over 450 attempts this year, you'll lose. He's not a passing quarterback. We keep bringing this up about this RPO stuff. Stop with it. It's over. They're not going to implement it. You think they are. Why would they go out and get Barkley? Why? So Jalen can run more? They're showing you through their actions and the money they're spending. They don't want Jalen to run. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to go get a high price back. And that's exactly what they did. He's going to run the same amount as he did a year ago. Okay? 500 yards, somewhere in there. It's not going to be anything like it was his first 2 years. Nothing remotely close. But he's not going to be good enough to win in the pocket for you. However, you've got playmakers. And if Jalen has 450 attempts, the INTs come down and the turnovers come down. The more he passes, the more turnovers he'll have. Common sense tells you that. Common sense. That's what happened a year ago. Better play calling. Kellen Moore is not this high-powered OC that's going to revolutionize the offensive game plan. Frank Reich's better than him as an offensive game plan guy. As a head coach, Frank has struggled. But as an OC, Frank's one of the better play callers. How many people think that Kellen Moore is a better OC than Frank Reich? How many people believe that? The reason you couldn't hire Frank is because Frank has got 2 more years remaining on his contract with David Tepper in Carolina. Why would he go to work in Philly when he could sit on the beach the next 2 years making $8 million, $16 million? Why would he do that? He wouldn't. Plus, you know what you would have? Well, no, because I don't believe Sirianni would have a problem with that. Yeah. It's, when I heard the news from other people reporting, okay? When I heard the news, that all this stuff was coming out, I couldn't believe. Well, no, I could. Finally. Maybe people behind the scenes and the players are starting to also contradict people now. Bring in Frank, OC, and Kellen as head coach. That'd be quite a duo. Eagle fan says Sills gets his news from ESPN. You think I watch that fascist sports network? Be like me watching CNN. That would not happen. I don't watch a fascist organization like CNN or ESPN. You'd be shocked what I watch, actually. I watch really C-SPAN. It's the only fair and balanced thing left on the planet. And that's going a little bit too off the scenes. See, I like to have contradicting like views. I don't like to hear one side. I would have signed Henry instead of Barkley. Henry was the better player. Seals implementing a balanced attack with Barkley carrying the rock and effectively stretching the field horizontally. Hurts could run less and be more productive because he'll be uncovered. Yes, that's a fact. But then, Bob, do this for me. Remember something. In your entire receiving core, you basically have $65 million tied up in three guys between Goddard and your two receivers. You got $65 million tied up in contracts that have been constructed. $65 million. You're not just going to not go to them and give Barkley 20 carries or 25 touches and take touches away from AJ. You're just not. It's not. So, who's lying? And why are the Eagles so bent in having you know that Jalen? Hey, by the way, I wonder if they asked Hurts to clarify his 95%, and he said no. Usually they do. Said they had Eskin do it. Why wouldn't they have just toted Jalen out if Jalen was on board? He did it after the Jets game. Why didn't they just bring him out? Instead, they brought Howard Eskin out. Why wouldn't Jalen have said, no, I didn't mean that? It's more like 20%. Why? Nothing wrong with saying 95% new. That's a good thing. That's not what the Eagles are saying. Eagles are saying it's 20%. Which is it? Which is it? I hope I'm wrong, but I think Lamar and Henry will be unreal. I do too. Their defense will be some issues. Losing Queen and some people in their back end of their secondary. I want to see how the Baltimore Ravens defense responds. Okay? Because Jalen's got a backbone. Who said 20%? The sideline reporter for the Philadelphia Eagles, Howard Eskin. Where do you think he got that from? He made it up? Howard doesn't make anything up. He's told it. He's told it. Remember that. When you are part of the broadcast team, you are not going to say things or report on things unless you've been told to say them. Howard Eskin doing weekends on WIP is a joke. He's doing it because it's better optics. Oh, he just doesn't work for the Eagles. Oh, okay, so he does his show. Well, we'll ask Angelo at 5:30. He calls him Philly's greatest mouthpiece. Wow, man. First time I heard John McMullen use the term, I'm not waving pom-poms. It's like, damn. I was like, holy cow, Xander's changed that Birds 365 around. Me not waving pom-poms. Holy Jesus, Christ, to me. How you doing? This day was made. I swear to God, I was so disappointed I wasn't on Friday because that was made for Big Sills. Shit like this, man, I was made for this. All right. Let's bring in our friend Xander Kraus, the co-host